Today is Monday, January 17th, and welcome to episode 23 of Knits and Stuff. My name is Alicia, and today we'll be talking about works in progress, pretty things, and local delights. But first, welcome to those of you that are new, and for those of you that are returning watchers, thanks for coming back. If you haven't already, there is a group on Ravelry that you can join. It's called the Knits and Stuff Podcast. And I will put a link in the show notes, which can be found at knitsandstuff.wordpress.com. So let's get started. Works in progress. I have no finished objects since last time, but I have started a lot of things. And one of those is some spinning, which is downstairs, so I'm going to show a bunch of pictures of it. But it's still on the wheel. It's on my ladybug, and I started a loop bullseye bump that I bought a few years ago at, I think I bought it online actually from her store, but it is in the colorway Seriously Sorry, and it has little pieces of sari silk, and it's mixed with the rest of her roving, and it's prepared in a center pole, kind of like a center pole bump that looks like a bat, but really it's roving. So I started spinning that, and it's spinning. The single ply is probably a light fingering to a lace weight, and then I'm gonna chain ply it to keep the color progression, and so that'll be a 3-ply after when it's done. So that is some spinning that I'm working on. And then as for knitting, I have made significant progress on the Twigs and Willows cardigan by Alana Dakos. You guys have seen it. If you've watched this before, you've seen it around. And I have finished all of the pieces, sewn them together, and put the button band on, put the collar on. And that is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to see what the finished. It's almost finished. It's not quite a finished object, but I need to sew buttons on, and I'm gonna put a grosgrain ribbon, I think, behind one of the button bands so that it holds its shape a little bit. And yeah, and hopefully I won't have to do it on the other side that doesn't have the buttons, because I'm not sure how I would deal with the buttonholes for that. But anyway, so this is the Twigs and Willows cardigan. This was out of Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Night Bloom. It's a little more purple than red, but it's showing up kind of red on the camera. And I knit this on US 7s, 4.5 millimeters. They are my Addy Clicks. And yeah, so this is almost done. I will probably be finishing this after we move, because we are moving. Our lease is up for the house that we're in now, so we had to find a new place, which is why this episode is going to be a little short, because I have to pack. But anyway, that is first knitting works in progress, almost done. And then I'm also made a little bit of progress on those toe-up socks with a difference that I was working on. That's cords everywhere. And these are the toe-up socks with a difference in mustache yarn. And let me get a little bit closer and turn off my autofocus. Oh, that's okay. So that is mustache yarn, her perfect sock base in the Dark Side of the Moon colorway. These are in US 1s, 2.25 millimeters. These are my Hayas. And I think this is where I was last time, unless I forgot to move it. So yeah, I made quite a bit of progress on here, but I'm still on the first sock. And I will probably be using the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and then maybe knit until I run out of yarn, maybe. So we'll see for that. And then I also cast on a couple of new projects. Both happen to be shawls. And the first one that I cast on was, which I for some reason am in the middle of a row, is the Age of Brass and Steam kerchief by Orange Flower Yarn. And I made quite a bit of progress. I'm not sure how to show this without, yeah, something like that. So that's the center. This is in Madeline Tosh 80-10-10 Sport, and in the colorway Heroine, and the this is on US 7s. I think the pattern calls for 7s too. I don't think I went down. I might have gone down a size. But I am also knitting this. So the pattern calls for 3 of these lace rows. I guess kind of like lace. The 3 of those yarn over rows, and I have a lot of yarn that I want to use up, so I am knitting 4 of them. I think I'll have enough for, let's see, I haven't looked at this yet. Oh gosh. Hopefully I will have enough to finish the last lace row and then do the garter edge. But I hope so. But this is what it looks like, and yeah, I really like this colorway. Someone, I was waiting for my car to get, it was just getting an oil change, and I was working on this at the shop, and this other lady came and dropped off her car to get worked on, and she came over and she was like, oh, I always love to talk to people who are knitting because I'm a big knitter, and what are you working on, and oh, the yarn's so pretty. So that was exciting to run into someone who's also a knitter, and she also likes Madeline Tosh too. So yeah, so that is the Age of Brass and Steam shawl. And then the second shawl that I cast on recently, I'm just on a shawl kick this past couple weeks, so that's almost done. But the other one I just cast on, and it is the Winter Sea Shawl by Liz Abinante, and this is the front. This is out of A Verb for Keeping Warm clover in the colorway Beach Glass, and I went down a needle size on this one because the yarn is slightly smaller, a slightly lighter weight than what the pattern calls for. So pattern calls for US 7s, but I'm knitting this on US 6 and 4.0 millimeters, also on Addy Clicks. The other shawl was on my Addy Clicks too. I don't know if I said that. So this has, it's an asymmetrical shawl, and it has a chevron repeat, which you can kind of see. It's just texture knits and purls that make the chevron pattern. It'll be a lot clearer when it's blocked and I don't have to hold it stretched out. So that is what it looks like, and this kind of is a segue into Pretty Things, because I bought this yarn originally to knit another one of Liz Abinante's patterns, and it turns out that I was just kind of looking at what the gauge was and what the weight. Let me focus this. So this is the band for clover, and I was looking at the gauge, and it was, you know, size 4 to 6 needles, and it'll get close to the gauge that I was looking for the other pattern. And but then it turns out, as I bend over to get it, it turns out that it's like a DK weight yarn, which it needed to be an Aran for the cowl that I wanted to knit, and it's also a 2-ply, so it's not going to have as much stitch definition as a 3-ply yarn, and the cowl that I was getting it had a bunch of cables on it, so I wanted something that would show off those cables. But then she released the winter sea shawl pattern, and I was like, oh, but this yarn would be perfect for that shawl. So so I ended up casting on for that instead. But this is the pretty things for this this episode, and it is naturally dyed, and they say on the ball band what it's dyed with, and I think it says fustic and larp. It's really hard to read. So and then the blend is targy wool and 80% wool and then 20% silk, and it's about 200 yards per skein. So I have 2 of these, and that should be enough to finish up the shawl. But the shawl is also customizable, so you could keep knitting until you run out if you wanted to. So I'll probably do that. Yeah, so that is pretty things for today, and so that brings us to local delights. I think, is that really all I had? I felt like I had a lot of knitting, but I guess I went through that kind of fast. So local delights. So a couple weeks ago we went to Briones Regional Park. It is a park up in Martinez. It's just north of Arundel and Lafayette, so it's in that little pocket in between Martinez and the 24, I guess. In between Highway 4 and 24. And we took a 6 to 7 mile hike around. We chose a couple of their trails and made a big loop. We walked along the ridge and got to see the lagoons, and it was cold. It was pretty cold, and at least it was green though, because we've gotten a lot of rain recently. But it was a good hike, and we saw lots of dogs and lots of bikes, so it would be a really good place to go if you're walking your dog or if you want to go bike riding. Especially one area has some pretty good looking mountain bike trails that aren't too rocky but nice and wide, so you don't have to worry about hitting any hikers on your way around. So yeah, that's kind of just a local park nearby. It's really close if you're in the East Bay, and if you're looking for something different than Mount Diablo, you could go hike up in the hills and in Briones. And it's close to the San Pablo Reservoir. I think you can also see that from kind of up there. And we drove by the reservoir too, and you could see, it was crazy because you could see how low the water was compared to where it used to be before California was in a drought. So yeah, that was kind of sad. But hopefully we'll get more rain, but that's besides the point. So, but yeah, Briones Regional Park, great place for hiking and biking, and it's supposed to look really nice in the spring with flowers everywhere and covering the hills, and the lagoons are really nice, but I probably wouldn't go there in the spring because I have allergies and they would be really bad, I think. But yeah, so that is it for local delights, and I don't have any wibbly wobbly timey-wimey because there's no Doctor Who right now. There's not really any news. I guess I kind of have a little wibbly wobbly time, I don't know, a little bit, because I hear, or it has been announced that Clara has, well, Jenna Coleman has signed on for another season of Doctor Who, so she's still going to be a companion, which obviously I guess it was clear after the Christmas episode, but yeah, I guess I found out during or right before I saw the episode that she signed on again, so I thought she was going to leave. I'm pretty sure I said she was going to leave too, so but I guess that wasn't confirmed, but yeah, I don't know, we'll see what the new season will be like with the two of them. It might be, I don't know, it should be better than this last one. Not that this last one was bad, but yeah, that's, yeah, no Doctor Who for a while. I don't even know if they've announced, I don't think we know when it's going to start back up. Yeah, so not gonna have any wibbly wobbly timey wimey. I'll probably show off some goodies next time, but not while we're packing, because I think some of it's packed away now. But yeah, so that is, I think, pretty much it. It's a short show. Gotta finish packing and getting ready to move, but make sure I keep my knitting out though, so I have something to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Social media stuff, I am Eliana Knits on Ravelry, and Unperfect529 on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, mostly everywhere else. And the group on Ravelry is called Knits and Stuff Podcast. Show notes are at knitsandstuff.wordpress.com, and that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I should be recording, yeah, and it'll be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because next weekend we're doing the big move, so I won't have time to record next week, although it should be 2 weeks apart anyway. But I'm off, my Fridays off now are all mixed up. So 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and if it's not going to be in 2 weeks, then I'll put a note in the Ravelry group. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye!